Hello, everyone. Thanks for listening. This is Lewis Stevens. Thank you for being a part of the course and helping me learn a lot more about our different backgrounds that we share and unique experiences in education. Thank you, Dr. Stegman, as well. All of you have helped me make a lot of important connections throughout this course and, of course, learning more about the English language learner. So here is my PowerPoint presentation here. I'm going to try to give you some commentary in between and some supplemental information to complement that. This is measurable data and success factors in ESL education. So, as is the way with college projects, I accidentally suggested a research question that would be better suited for a 50-hour research project and not a 12 to 20-hour research project. I'm glad I asked the question I did because I'm learning a lot, especially information that is applicable to my day-to-day practice. And so I take the next few slides to sort of limit that information, do more chunks that would be a better jumping off point for the research I'm conducting. And you'll see that in the next slide. That way, my project did not either end up too vague to apply for my other students and coworkers, but also wasn't so specific that the jargon would weigh it down. For my fellow researchers here, besides our good friend Google, some of the best starting off points I found were the course readings, of course, any links that Dr. Stegman included, the KU library, which is very, very helpful for educational research, definitely to find links and starting off points, as well as eric.ed, researchgate.net, and any government affiliated educational society I could find or institution. NCES is a good one. ODE, the Ohio Department of Education, has a lot of great information on ESL as well. These are the success factors I've decided to measure because even though this comes from a source and a team of experts working from St. Catherine's University in St. Paul, Minnesota, these success factors are pretty consistent across other ELL research. The only major difference being some semantic changes and more detailed responses. So this is a quick overview. This is broad, of course, because this allows me to go into my research more in depthly and focus on certain points through my own methodology. One thing that the article did mention is that parent engagement is something that tends to be difficult with ELL students because the parents' understanding of the American education system can sometimes create a barrier if that's not something that's reached out to by either the teacher or the parents. It's a commitment that both sides have to create that relationship. Another interesting point is on ESL training. According to the source I have here on page 11, in a survey conducted in 2013, nearly half of all educators expressed either apathy or disinterest in receiving more ESL training. And as part of our course, we've seen a lot that ESL students and English language learners will only continue to increase in numbers dramatically from now into the near future. So this is especially something that's concerning and something I will touch on a little bit later in the slideshow. Whether you're interested in continuing your research with English language learners or in English as a second language, this is a great website for educators and parents alike. This is a concept that was new to me before I began this project. This is Epstein's framework of 6 types of involvement. This was research conducted initially in the early 90s to mid 90s, 1993. The first publishing took place. Now it's considered a standard in measuring this. I didn't know that there was any sort of metric for parent involvement or for the other information I include here, parent involvement. This one's the models, and this one is the framework. So they tell you about parenting styles, some sample practices, challenges, some semantic things that may change your viewpoint or how you approach a situation, and the desired outcomes for all 3 parties involved, students, parents, and teachers. So this is definitely something I would look into. I'll kind of scroll down through here. I also included the link up here in my PowerPoint. So do yourself a favor, check this out, and apply this to any other facets of your practice that you feel could benefit from parent involvement, which is something that, of course, we struggle with, especially now that I teach in an inner city school. When I taught rural, sometimes there was over parent involvement, which I present later in my PowerPoint is also detrimental to students. And now in the inner city, little to no parent involvement. So this will help you find a balance and help you kind of understand better why things are set up the way they are. So thank you. I recommend if you have the time to skim through the Tabian article I've linked here. It has a lot of information on the new phenomenon. Well, not exactly new, but the new term for it is helicopter parenting or overparenting. This is especially prevalent in more rural districts where parents kind of overextend their boundaries with the teacher and their student. And some go as far as completing projects for them, and I had seen it in my own high school and middle school experience. Another interesting thing I found from this is the difference between boys and girls and their reaction to parents playing an active role in their homework and their classwork. And surprisingly, girls seem to be more intuitive to their mother helping them with homework assignments and playing a role in that, whereas almost 80% of boys presented in a survey that they did not want their mother involved in their homework completing process. So check this out if you have time. There's some interesting data there. So presumably at the end of our master's program here at the University of Kansas, hopefully many of us will be considered experts in the field of education. So this may seem like a common sense sort of slide to include here, but it cannot be stressed enough the importance not only for English language learners, but for all learners to take an interest in who they are, what they enjoy inside and outside of school, what interests them, what engages them, and ask them for feedback. Even my students as young as 5th and 6th grade, I'm constantly asking, what did you like about this activity? What did you not like? What can we do different next time? How do you think this will improve your ability to complete this task or to master this standard? And so this can go for culture, but also just any of your students and how they can transform their own education experience by being honest with you and by playing an active role in their own coursework. Hi, everyone. So I did want to share this website in particular that goes along with it. I'll share my screen for this. This comes from the National Center for Education Statistics. So as you know, one of my goals was to find quantitative and numerical data to support some of the ideas and success factors that we've covered in class pretty extensively. So this is one of the best resources I was able to find. You should be able to see my screen here. This gives you a breakdown of teacher demographics and specifically English language learner. If you can see my highlight here. With disabilities and percentage with selected qualifications or coursework by character and school characteristics. So this was 2017, 2018, which was pretty recent. Only thing that may outdate it is we've kind of gone through a giant global pandemic in between, right? But here's something that's quite interesting. So when you go across here, these are teachers with IEP students who have experience, courses, minors, majors, more qualifications in special education. So you see percentages like 26%, 25%, took any courses here, 67 and 72% for teachers overall, which is good numbers. You got to be happy with that. But then you scroll over here to teachers with at least one English language learner in their class. And how many of those teachers have had any courses on how to teach ELL students and have a major, minor, or certification at ESL? Now look and see the percentages drop here. For male teachers, 5.2% have a major, minor, or certification in ESL, and those are teachers who have at least one English language learner in their class. 11.6 for female, bring our total for all teachers across the board who have an ELL student and have a certification in ESL to 10%. So for every 10 teachers that have at least one English language learner in their class, only one of those teachers have a certification major or minor in ESL. You can see where in the near future that may become something that's problematic as we continue to see that number of English language learners per class increase. So I encourage you to check out this website. The URL is up here above. That's nces.ed.gov. So this is a pretty reliable source here. And they have lots of other things. Like I said, they have stats up here on special education, as well as teaching experience, degree earned. And this is a good breakdown for you guys, depending on where you reside in or teach in. I know a lot of us are really suburban teachers. Although I'm more familiar with rural overall. This is my first year in an inner city school. So these are all things I encourage you to kind of check out and kind of browse the website itself if you have a chance, because they have a lot of good websites and links here for library, post-secondary, fast facts, data and tools, any sort of other things you'd like to check out. So that's a resource I wanted to share with you. So thank you for viewing. Hope that helps. If you're familiar with Jerome Bruner, or even if you aren't, he also did a lot of amazing work with spiral education, which is something that isn't brought up a lot in our day-to-day practice, but is an interesting theory and concept to check out if you're interested in ways to alter curriculum here in the United States. The asterisk included here at my second bullet point means that while most research suggests that this is the case, that explicit vocabulary instruction improves retention, that is widely accepted and just generally a standard in education. However, as is the case with some aspects of my project, which I've highlighted before, there is not much numerical data or quantitative data that is out there to support that information. There is, through tests and through case studies and countless interventions that they've conducted in schools, but there's not a percentage number and there's not a key to the potential gains that can be made there, if that makes any sense. As I've mentioned previously in some of my discussion posts, I took an amazing course earlier this semester that was Understanding Research in Education, and I got really into the idea of quantitative data and learning how information presented to me helps me understand and buy into concepts, and having that numerical data is a big part of that. So when I set out for this project, there's a big goal to find that to represent items and concepts that we've been introduced to in this course. However, qualitative data makes up the majority of education research here at the English language learner level, at the special education level, and at many others that cannot be expressed numerically in the same way that evidence collected through studies can be. And that's sort of the reality of it. There are things that can be quantified, such as test scores, such as assessments, such as the data included in those reports that are majorly qualitative data. And so while this project was not successful in ascertaining much of those details, one of my conclusions to make is that that does not disqualify the information presented, either here or in those studies, and it is worth just as much, if not more, than quantitative data, because education is something that cannot be explicitly measured. Do you agree or disagree? Okay, my camera wasn't popping up there. I was trying to figure out what was going on. So one of the things I've really enjoyed about this course is learning more about your journeys and the various places you teach. So I have my implications listed on my PowerPoint here. And one of the things I mentioned was helping my team members at my school. And one thing I've continually mentioned is that I don't have much experience with English language learners. This is my second year of teaching, I taught out here in Wellington, Ohio, a town of about 2,000 people, surrounded by farmland, about 95% Caucasian, small school district, and because of I had a relative with health problems and I'm taking care of them right now. I picked up and moved an hour and a half this way over here to Toledo, and suddenly I'm in a city with about 350,000 people here, the third largest city in Ohio right now, about 6 minutes from the Michigan line up here. And all of a sudden, I was teaching a very diverse student population. And I had also gone to a very country rural school right here by Wellington in Oberlin, Ohio. Maybe you've heard of Oberlin College and Cedar Point's right here. But anyway, so that's still something I'm hoping to gain more knowledge with. I don't have access to many English language learners here. So maybe it's a good thing that I have this course before to kind of prepare me for that so I can make the right impressions away when that does happen. But even just teaching a more diverse district has taught me a ton. And again, I want to thank you all for sharing your experiences as well. So, thank you for watching. Let me know what you thought of the project. I did want to include a short reflection bit of my project because I feel that was a lot of the original purpose of the assignment was to have you reflect on the knowledge out there, the research being done, and of course your own practice as a teacher or instructor. And so I did want to include this, and I wanted to mention that my original goal of finding quantitative evidence to support a lot of the current trending theories and leading processes for ELL learners and ESL classrooms as well proved very difficult, and I knew it was going to be. And so that was part of the reason why I chose that topic, because it didn't seem like there was much available. Everything was really based on qualitative and case study scenarios. So that was something I wanted to branch out and try. I scoured the internet, I scoured the KU e-library, my local library, and of course some experts in the field that I was able to meet with from the Toledo area. And we did find some which is included in my project above, but not much, so maybe that'll be something that I will go out of my way to try and find. I was like, not that there's anything wrong with qualitative data, it's just that my brain is kind of wired towards evidence-based in numbers, observations, and, of course, statistics. So I do believe that the research done here was worthwhile, and I'm glad I had the opportunity to share it with everyone, so thank you. With any large project, there's a series of next steps that can be taken. I've only briefly listed a few here that are most relevant to my practice today, tomorrow, and in the future. Namely, I'm a person who prefers physical items and record keeping. I have a lot of books that are from anything from graphic organizers to writing prompt ideas, all the way to more comprehensive classroom management or curriculum ideas, and I'd like to add this to my collection and create it in a way that will be most relevant to what I do, and of course easy to store and reference from time to time whenever possible. Then I think it's necessary to present this to my district in any way that would be helpful to them, and small group meetings we do such as TBT and any data collection that we go over as a group. I'd like to use this as an opportunity to build off of what I've already found out, along with my studies in multicultural education, and see what kind of questions I should be asking as a result of the question I answered here. It always keeps going, and that's a good thing. Next, as we've seen in the class, the number of English language learners that we're expecting here in the United States is only going to continue to increase, and being best prepared for that is by taking the opportunity to do projects like this and storing them to your memory, and like I said, creating little reference points for you to be the best teacher you can be. And finally, we do have our final master's project coming up, mine here at the end of the summer, and while I can't wait, I'm super excited about it, starting to think about what sort of items I can take from this and my previous studies and present the best version of myself for that project. Thank you for listening.